Here in Forsyth County Schools, we have an outstanding core of teachers. But one of the things technology has enabled us to do over the last couple years specifically is to personalize instruction and differentiate instruction, and that's been a real game changer in Forsyth County Schools.
Technology has a profound impact on learning, especially within a school system that is a bring your own technology school system like Forsyth County Schools. In the classroom, it impacts our instruction. A lot of teachers do plan to include technology and integrate technology in a transformative way in our classrooms, and so students who do not have access to technology are not necessarily going to have access, like their peers, to the instruction for that day. Overall, I think it's increased our student achievement. It has broadened our students' aptitude to be able to access information, and so the implications of having that access is very important and vast.
As a school social worker, I encounter families that are in need of various resources, and technology is a great need for many of our families. I would equate having access to technology as important as having a backpack, a piece of paper, a pencil. It's something that kids just are in desperate need of. On one occasion when I did a home visit to assess resources and resource needs for a family, I met a mom who the school had actually been trying to get in touch with, couldn't communicate with her, couldn't get in touch with her. Well, it turns out the mom was actually deaf, and obviously I realized that when I had gotten to the home. In some conversation, because she could read lips and she could understand a minimal amount of what I was saying to her, she had let me know that her son was in need of technology, and I had said, we actually have this program where we can get you a computer and we can get you a hotspot so that your son can have access to its learning. And in addition, you can then communicate with the school and the teachers via messaging so that she could then be aware. This was a great way to connect this family with the school on a regular basis, and it was a need that we really would not have been able to do in any other way, and it was something that really benefited both the family and the school, because now the teachers had a way to be in direct and consistent communication with this parent who son had some difficulties. I will also say that there are more than one occasion where we have given away a computer or a Khajiit, a hotspot, and the child is ecstatic. At one time, a child said to me, "This is the best day of my life, getting the computer," because it really evens the playing field with the probably 10 to 15% of kids at the Title I schools that I work at do not have access to technology, and it is really an integral part of getting them to be on an even playing field with their peers.
Those kids are no longer at a deficit because of whatever's happening with their family or their home situation. They now have access to their schoolwork, research, and other outside sources that enable them to dig deeper into their content. And we actually have a particular situation right now. We have a boy who had surgery for cancer this morning, and through our school providing him a device and internet, he's able to stay connected to his friends and to his school while he's at Scottish Rite, and it gives them something to look forward to. They don't feel like they're left out.
In today's world, with the way that education is, we rely on so much more than just textbooks. As soon as you print a textbook, it is out of date, and there is so much that people who are experts in the field can offer, but you can't bring them all into your classroom right away without technology. So you use technology to help bring in the rest of the world and to take your students to the rest of the world to see the things that they can't see when they're just sitting in the classroom at their desk. For me, that was super apparent as a French teacher, because I couldn't take my kids to France every day, but I could certainly let them use French on a daily basis with the rest of the world who actually spoke French, and so they could get that immediate impact of what they needed to do to use what they were learning, rather than it just being a classroom skill. It was a world skill.
So there is certainly a digital divide amid some of our students, even within Forsyth County Schools. In my own school, for example, there are students who have all the access. They have internet, they have tablets and devices they can bring to school and keep at home. We have other students who are either homeless, or they are living in group homes, or they do have a home and they don't have the capability to access internet or devices. This is problematic because it doesn't create that level playing field that we afford our children in education that they deserve. So one of the things that I've seen work so well is what BYOT has provided us with hotspots and devices and laptops that children can take into their homes. They now have the access to continue their education outside the school day, which we know is going to be vital to their success after high school and beyond.
Yes. As a school social worker, I often see the students who need technology. It may come across my radar as a student who doesn't have food or they're about to lose housing. But school is the constant for so many of our children. And, for our students to be able to overcome poverty and, really succeed in this world, we are such a technology-driven world at this point. Having access to technology and having access to those learning opportunities that are available through having technology, those are just critical for our students.
We are trying to get our teachers to use technology in their classroom, but that becomes a difficult prospect if you have students in your classroom who don't have technology, because then you're asking them to do something that you already know they're not going to be able to do. But with the BYOT Foundation being able to provide the devices and the internet hotspots, those kids have the same playing field as everyone else in the class, and so they're really able to take advantage and move beyond where they might have been, and hopefully be able to continue with the education, the same level of education that everyone else in the classroom is getting, and also continue to interact with the rest of the world in the same way that everyone else is, so that even if they can't travel, they can travel virtually.
Our kids are really comfortable with emailing their teachers questions, and our teachers are really comfortable with emailing them back questions through that It's Learning platform. It's a safe platform, and so you know who you're talking to. And so they're just really comfortable in doing that. They'll email administration, hey, Dr. Jones, just so you know, I really need help with this, or this happened, or something like that. So they connect with us. It's just an easy platform for them to do that.
What Dr. Jim and Peggy Morrow have done here in Forsyth County Schools, it's really hard to put into words. We are fortunate in our community that we live in a very affluent area. Most of our students have devices and connectivity at home, but the reality is some of our students do not. And what Jim and Peggy has done has enabled us to put those devices and connectivity in the hands of students who need it, and that's helped to level the playing field, and we're greatly appreciative.
A lot of the time, people tend to think that students of Forsyth County, and especially advanced placement students who just have it together and they've got everything going for them and they're organized and dedicated, that they have everything they need to be successful. Last year, I found that was not true for one of my students. One of my students, a young lady who was in my AP course, was having difficulty turning in assignments. I noticed that she kept missing deadlines, and this was very unlike her character, and it was very, very outside the scope of her aptitude. She was probably more able to do these things than a lot of her peers. After a couple of private conversations with her, I did find out that she did not have access because she was living in a transient home situation. So I worked with our media center specialist, and I worked with our instructional technology specialist, and we were able to get her not only a laptop, but also another device and a hotspot. And we were able to extend our own computer hours to better help her, to show that she could achieve as highly as she was able, just like her peers. And so that was really striking, I think, that even in an advanced placement setting, we have kids who don't have what other kids have. And to make that happen for her, I was just really proud that Forsyth County Schools could offer that to her.
You almost made me cry.
I love that girl.